All right, Ron, thank you very much. The Packers are 5-3 on the road. The 49ers have yet to be beaten here at 3Com Park. Brett Favre will rest as the 49ers have won the toss, and they send Chuck Levy back for Ryan Longwell's kick.
I'll tell you, Pat, this wind is really a factor here today. And I was watching the pregame warm-ups, the kickers and the footballs going in the air, and there were some ugly-looking sights.
And I was down on the field, John, before the game, and there's some ugly-looking spots on this field as well.
So we may see a great football game played in some ugly conditions.
Longwell's kick hangs up at the 2 to Chuck Levy. Levy breaks out of the pack on the opening kickoff. Longwell. And there was a flag, I believe, on the play on the far side of the field. Mike Pryor made the stop as he and Longwell were the only two men to beat. Going to be against the 49ers, an illegal block in the back, as there usually seems to be. Levy almost broke the opening kickoff.
Illegal block in the back on return, number 28. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Illegal block called against Curtis Buckley, and it moves the 49ers back into that soggy part of the field.
You know, and I think in any big game, I always felt that I would rather lose the toss and start on defense than start on offense. I think that, you know, your offense all has to work together. They're a little shaky earlier. Defense is just react and go after them. Get old big Gilbert Brown right there going.
On first down, it's Hurst. No gain. Let's have a look at the San Francisco offense. Two-time NFL most valuable player, 1992 and 94. Steve Young, as John Madden was talking about, the key for the 49ers. He's the quarterback. Deese Brown, Dahlman, Gogan, and Sprafford in front of him. Garrison, Hurst, William Floyd, the two backs. Stokes and Terrell Owens wide, and Greg Clark starts at tight end in place of Brent Jones. Young gives to Hurst. Cut down at about the 11 by Reggie White. Here is the Green Bay defense. A little porous during the middle of the year, but playing better. Gabe Wilkins, there was doubt about whether he'd be able to play or not. Gilbert Brown, Santana Dotson, and Reggie White. Brian Williams, Bernardo Harris in the middle, and Seth Joyner, the linebackers. Evans and Williams, the corners. Robinson and Butler, the safeties. Brent Jones lines up wide right, 3rd and 7. Young to throw it. Pass to Stokes. Got him a first. Tyrone Williams brought him down.
That's what they do. The 49ers line up in a look that looks like 4 wide receivers, but one of those wide receivers is Brent Jones. J.J. Stokes was the outside guy, and he's just going to run a slant. You see, you got a guy here, here. These are the 4 right here, and here's the slant. You just come right here, get right inside, and hit that ball right there. See, here it is with a closer look. You see, once you get inside right there, Steve Young knows that he has a first down.
49ers put Owens in motion. Young outside. Owens gets away from 1. Picks up about 4. Both the 49er receivers are big, tall, strong guys.
Yeah, and, you know, that's one of the things the 49ers have been trying to do for years. You know, move their wide receiver along. Of course, that started with the great Jerry Rice. You know, you don't just leave a wide receiver out right or left. You bring them in tight. You put them in motion. You put them in the backfield. And that's exactly what they did on that play with Terrell Owens.
2nd and 5 for the 49ers. Opening drive, and the rain comes just a little bit harder. Packers show blitz. No flag. That's Hurst. Short of the first.
You know, it's interesting, Pat, that the 49ers script their offense, so the Green Bay Packers are going to script their defense. So Fritz Shurmur is just rolling them. He's just running guys in and out. In fact, on that one there, they were in what they call their 3-3 nickel. And that's where Seth Joyner, instead of being a linebacker, he lines up over a guard, and he becomes a pass rusher.
Third and 2 now.
I was just saying, Fritz Shermer says, if you're going to script, I'm going to script, so at the end of your scripting, you won't know what you're going to get anyway.
Again, 3 wide receivers. Extra defensive backs for the Pack. Owens underneath gets another 49 first down. From wide, he cut underneath Brett Jones.
Steve Young really does look calm. You know, both of these guys, Brett Favre and Steve Young, are great competitors, and they tend to be towards the hyper side. And but Steve Young isn't starting out playing hyper.
No.
In his first drive. Looks very calm.
Different kind of hyper.
But he has good pass protection too.
First down, San Francisco. Young keeps it, drops it out to Greg Clark. Clark gets across midfield. Stopped finally by Seth Joyner.
That's why you have to be able to run a little, because then you can run the bootleg, and that's what Steve Young is the best at. What you do is you get both backs going this way. Steve Young makes that fake, then comes out here on the bootleg. Now, if you react to the backs going this way, watch when the back comes this way, on the fake there, and you get the lineman pulling, then the Packers all get caught that way, and then he can come out and hit his tight end, Greg Clark.
Both guards came out in the opposite direction.
I know, and it's hard for a defensive lineman when you see the back go that way and both linemen going that way. It's hard for you not to go that way.
Young to Hurst, lost a yard. Had a problem with the exchange early.
And they have a problem with that 8th man up, too.
Yeah.
You know, anytime that you start to run, you're going to get a strong safety up there. You're going to get Leroy Butler up there. Now watch where Leroy Butler is, and this is a run blitz. It looks like he knows what the play is.
Yep.
He blitzes right into the hole that Garrison Hurst is running in. That's the old 8-man up, and when that 8-man up is like Leroy Butler, he's as good as most linebackers when they're in that hole.
2nd and 12. San Francisco at their own 47. Hurst goes in motion this time, and now he comes back. Stays in the block. Screen pass coming to Hurst. And the Packers had it red. Santana Dotson.
They're really, defensive linemen are really getting good at reading screen passes. And more teams are running screen passes. And I bet you it just seems like watching them this year that 3/4 of them don't work. I think that linemen feel if the quarterback is going to get rid of the ball quickly. Now watch Santana Dotson here. He just stops rushing. He feels that guard. Ray Brown goes out. He sees Garrison Hurst go out, so he just stops. It used to be guys would just rush right towards the quarterback and he'd throw that screen. Now they see it or feel it and they go to the screen.
3-man front, but Seth Joyner gets down and he's going to rush, and now a flag.
This is what Fritz Shermer calls his 3-3 dime.
False start. Offense prior to the snap, number 81. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Owens jumped.
Yeah, he's right here, and he's the guy that should never jump. I mean, there's no excuse for that. I mean, he can look in. He doesn't have to hear the count. He can look in at the ball and watch the ball being snapped, especially when the corner's way off him like that.
3rd and 24. Here comes Joyner rushing. But Young has time and throws to Owens, who has it. Not quite enough for the first down, about 2 or 3 yards short.
Mullen was right out there, and he was playing off him. But when you get that big a cushion, watch Roderick Mullen here. He's playing back, and now as he starts to drive off, he drives him back. He gets his shoulders turned, and then Owens can make that move to the sideline. Had Owens taken about 3 more steps, though, before he made that move and knew where that first down stick was, the 49ers wouldn't have to be punting in this situation because Steve Young did have plenty of time.
Robert Brooks and Mike Pryor back deep for Green Bay. And Tommy Thompson will punt it. Low kick, slid off the side of his foot and takes a football bounce. A crazy one.
I told you the kicking was ugly in the pregame.
It sure was, and it still is. A windy, murky day in San Francisco. The NFC Championship, 0-0. The Packers' first possession. The winner that played Denver in the Super Bowl. Quick count. Favre drop. Caught by Brooks. Brooks crosses the 40. Rod Woodson made the stop. Let's look at Green Bay's offense, led by three-time most valuable player, 3 in a row, Brett Favre. In front of him, Verba, Taylor, Winters, Timmerman, and Dotson. There was doubt about Taylor, but he started. Levens and Henderson, the two backs. Freeman and Brooks wide, and Mark Shimura, the tight end. Favre throw it again. Brooks again. Incomplete. Flag on the play. Flag on the play.
Yep, you know where they're looking. They're looking to Brett Favre's right, and that matchup he has over there is Robert Brooks against Rod Woodson. Threw it on the first down, came right back and threw it the next time.
Both play passes. Something.
Interference. Defense, number 26.
They can't
First
tag
down.
the referee.
You're going to see, here's Rod Woodson right here. Here's Robert Brooks. And you see, he turns Woodson around. And when Woodson gets back, he gets that right hand on that right shoulder while the ball's in the air.
1st and 10, Green Bay at the San Francisco 35. 4 wide receivers set up this time for Green Bay. Favre underneath. Again, Brooks. To about the 26. Let's have a look at the 49er defense. Solid veterans. Dolman, Stubblefield, Young, and Barker up front. Norton, Plummer, and Woodall, the 3 linebackers, all familiar names. Marquez, Pope, Hanks, McDonald, and Rod Woodson. 2nd and 2, Green Bay. They've yet to run it. Levens is deep. Now they have Dorsey, Levens. Pounds it straight ahead. The last 2 postseason meetings, Green Bay has outscored the 49ers 28-0 in the first quarter. Most of that as a result of turnovers, however.
Yeah, that's the area that the 2 areas that the 49ers have had trouble with the Packers have been the special teams plays and then the turnovers. I mean, if you have 9 turnovers in 2 playoff games, you aren't going to win.
You're going to lose them, yeah.
And you just watch the way Green Bay is getting started here. They're really crisp. I mean, they look like they're a little crispier, if that's a word, than the 49ers are.
It is now.
Especially their offense against the 49er defense. They're beating them to the punch. They're getting off first.
Favre has gone on a quick count a couple of times.
Yeah, Favre is a master at that. He's become a master at that, at changing up the count. You know, going from the quick count to a long count to a hard count. Really using his count to keep that defensive line from getting a lot of penetration quickly.
2 tight ends. 2 wide receivers to the right. Brooks and Freeman. The screen pass goes to Levens. Caught from behind by Stubblefield.
You want to see an interesting thing is on the screen pass. One thing that the tackle to the side of the screen, that's going to be Ross Verba here. He has to cut his guy to get his hands down so you can throw the ball over him. Now watch Ross Verba here. He's looking in for the count. But watch how he goes, like he's going to boom. He cuts Chris Dolman right there. That gets him down. Then you can throw that screen pass out there.
And that would have gone for some good yardage had it not been for the effort by Stubblefield. 2nd and 10. Levens. Dorsey Levens to the 20.
Yeah, we talked about Leroy Butler being up there as a strong safety for the Green Bay Packers. And the same thing is true with the 49ers, but it's Tim McDonald. You know, anytime that you're having trouble with your front 4 and linebackers, your front 7, you have to get that strong safety involved. And the strong safety for the 49ers, number 46, Tim McDonald, he's the guy that made that play on that run.
3rd and 6 at the 20. Frank Winters, the offensive center for Green Bay. Fakes 11. Pass to Chamora. Inside the 10. Should be enough for a first. Is enough for a first.
Again, good pass protection. And you're going to see Chamora right here. He's just coming off. Rod Woodson is playing on him in that nickel. He was playing a zone. He got him a bump. and then Chmura just found that hole in the zone. And of course, when Brett Favre just needs about 5 or 6 yards and he gets down into that area, I'll guarantee you he's looking for number 89 from Boston College.
First and goal at the 9. Levens to the 3. Woodall made the stop. Levens hit hard, but he can deliver a blow as well as take one.
Well, he finishes off his runs, especially when they start in the I formation. You're just going to see him. He loves this kind of running. He calls this downhill running. You get in there behind your fullback, and you just run right downhill. You don't have to sweep. You don't have to wait for guards to pull or anything. Just get in the I formation and just follow your fullback in there.
And his fullback does a heck of a job. Henderson. Levens again. Jams it to the 1. Plummer on the bottom of the pile.
Yeah, this is going to be a heck of a matchup in here. I mean, you have Bryant Young here, Dana Stubblefield here. One of the best tandems of defensive tackles in football, and they are tough to get movement on, and they are tough to run at. I mean, we know that Green Bay is tough to run at with Gilbert Brown, but I think when Bryant Young is playing and healthy and Dana Stubblefield is playing healthy, they're equally as tough to run in the middle line.
3 tight ends for Green Bay. Favre. The pass was deflected.
Oh, the 49ers make a big play by that deflection because William Henderson was wide open in the end zone.
Yes, he was.
Favre saw him. Favre was trying to throw it to him. And if Favre could have gotten there, that's a touchdown. Let's just see. You're going to see that Gary Plummer is the guy that knocks that ball down. But William Henderson, maybe Plummer was supposed to be the guy that was covering William Henderson because there was no one in the end zone on William Henderson.
Ryan Longwell, who was with the 49ers, hits for the Packers and puts them ahead 3-0 from 19 yards out. Green Bay 3, San Francisco 0.
Here's William Henderson. Watch, he's going to run right by Gary Plummer here and be free in the end zone. I think Plummer was supposed to have him, and then when he gets by Plummer just jumps up and knocks the ball down. But watch Henderson here. He's free right here in the end zone. Favre sees him and tries to throw it to him. That would have been a wide open touchdown if Gary Plummer doesn't touch the ball by just that much.
Brett Favre was right. Just that much. Longwell's kick sends Levy to the goal line. Levy, once you stop on a kickoff return, they're going to gain ground in a hurry. At the 15, the 49ers will take over. The Packers lead it 3-0. Green Bay 3, San Francisco 0. These aerial pictures courtesy of the Goodyear Blimp Eagle based in Carson, California. Recently, by the way, Goodyear has doubled its blimp fleet to 6, adding 2 in Europe and 1 in South America.
You know, it was interesting when the Packers got here yesterday and they didn't have a place to practice. They went down to Moffett Field and they practiced in Hangar 1. And in Hangar 1, they can put 12 blimps.
It's a big hangar. Owens makes the catch from Young, picks up about 7.
That was an interesting formation. The 49ers came out in that 4 wide receiver look, and they usually do that on longer yardage, but they can see they got a receiver here and here and here and here, and they spread them out and made them play dime on first down. Usually that's a 2nd and long or 3rd down offensive formation.
Young hasn't missed. This is Hurst, and there is nothing there for Garrison Hurst. Brian Williams led the Packer defense.
Yeah, that's one thing about that Packer defense, that they do have speed at linebacker. With Brian Williams, he's one of the fastest linebackers in the league, and he's hard to get away from because of the speed. And then the other thing is their defensive secondary are good tacklers. They don't have many guests or any guests back there. They all tackle well.
Four down rushers. Young wheels it outside. It's caught by Hurst, and Hurst knocked out of bounds by Tyrone Williams. And right now, for highlights from today's AFC Championship, let's go down to James Brown for a McDonald's game break.
All right, Pat, thank you very much. The Denver Broncos were trailing 14-10 in the second quarter when John Elway, nice swing pass out to Howard Griffith, better catch. He takes it 16 yards to pay dirt, and the Broncos will now make their 5th trip to the Super Bowl. Back to Pat and John.
Heck of an effort by Denver. Thompson back to punt. Another poor kick. The wind really got this one. The first punt was 19 yards, and this one is a little bit better, but not much.
And the Packers better get away from that. You don't want to be standing around when that ball is flopping around in the ground.
The Green Bay Packers lead the 49ers 3-0. The Packers' second possession. Shimura on the move, and Favre now ready and drops to throw it. Incomplete, and no flags this time. Brooks, the intended receiver, covered by Marquez Pope.
You know, if you watch Frank Winters, Pat, he always does something on pass protection that is interesting. Watch him here. If he's going to block to his right, he'll put his left hand out there. So really, he helps both ways. See, now he has a snap in. Now watch his left hand go out there. See, that's to help on that gap here. Then he's looking to help on this side. And that's what he does for Bryant Young. But that way, you can help both sides. One with your hand to stop a gap, and the other one with your shoulder.
Favre. Brooks incomplete.
Sometimes he gets caught in the middle, though. I think on that one he did, like the old washing machine. You know, when you get caught in here, watch. Here he's going to be right here, and he's going to start out to put his left hand up to stop that gap. You see the left hand goes out there, and the right hand goes up there, and there he has two guys. He has one on each shoulder, but his job is to not let someone get a run straight up the middle at Brett Favre.
So actually, he did a pretty good job.
I think so, for old bag of donuts. He always does a pretty good job.
Yes,
he is real cagey in there.
McDonald showing blitz, and Favre called timeout. He saw him coming.
I don't know. Favre probably had to audible and didn't have enough time to audible, so he just called a timeout and said he'll go over and talk to Mike Holmgren about it. But watch McDonald come up. You see they get a look back here. Now Favre is ready to call the play. Now here's McDonald here. You see, and he's going to sneak up. Now they don't have enough blockers on that side to handle that right side. So if it's a pass, there would be a guy free on pass protection. You see him come into the frame right there. And if it's a run, if they were running to that side, again, there would be an extra guy. So it was probably going to be a bad play with no time to audibilize.
And Brett Favre called a timeout.
Mike Holmgren, you don't think this is a big one for him, trying to repeat as a Super Bowl champion, coming back here to his hometown? He grew up here in San Francisco, went to Lincoln High School, coached at Sacred Heart High School.
Shimura again moves to the right, and Favre drops the throw. Turns it to the inside, and Brooks took it to the outside. It's incomplete. Are they hugging?
Good coverage out there by Marquez Pope. Marquez Pope is a very physical guy. Now that's a look, Pat. That's a look like a fighter in the 12th round of a heavyweight championship fight.
A little bit of grass, a little bit of mud on the helmet.
It looks like a big cut over the left eye. They're trying to hold together with that blue stuff.
Is a good one. Handled by Levy, and Levy is taken down by the Packer cover teams at about the 13. Favre and Kevin Green.
Remember last week, Brett Favre was doing that with Warren Sapp, and Mike Holmgren didn't like it, and he talked to Brett Favre about it. But once the game starts, Brett Favre is the type of guy, he's just going to play. And when someone hits him and knocks him down, it was Bryant Young who really knocked him down, he's going to give him a head slap. And then you know, Kevin Green, he loves to headbutt. In fact, there was one game this year when Kevin Green wasn't suited up. Remember that? He was in street clothes on the 49er sideline. A 49er made a great play, and he gave him a headbutt with his raw head.
Well, he's got a lot of hair.
Yeah, I mean, a headbutt was square in the forehead with nothing there. I mean, when you give a headbutt with a raw head, you have to be a wrestler.
That was Garrison Hurst straight ahead for a couple of yards.
But, that's the way Brett Favre plays. And I know that, you know, sometimes Mike Holmgren figures that, he gets carried away and he takes it too far. But if you take that away from Brett Favre, then you don't have Brett Favre.
That's the end of the first quarter. Green Bay leading 3-0. Mike Holmgren doesn't look like he has the lead, does he? Fox. Green Bay 3, San Francisco nothing. Pat Summerall with John Madden.
Pat, Steve Young is perfect. He's perfect 8 out of 8.
Second and about 6. Young drops. Still perfect. First down, San Francisco to J.J. Stokes.
We talked about the script and the 49ers scripted and Green Bay going to script. You can look here in their first 15 plays, and that's what their script is. The 49ers had 6 runs and 9 passes. And then you look, okay, now what was Fritz Shermer going to do? He had 13 4-3s, and he had 1 base and he had 1 nickel. He had 2 3-3 nickel dimes that he just started. So really, he just was kind of answering their script.
Young deep for Stokes. Got it. Tyrone Williams was the cover man, but Stokes took a strike from Steve Young.
And Steve Young is still perfect. We said Steve Young has to have a big day. Here's the isolation out here. Here's Tyrone Williams. And you see J.J. Stokes again being so big. Once he can get by, now he can use that left hand. In fact, he used that left hand 3 times. 1 to get by, 1 to push off the first time, 1 to push off the second time, and then after he pushed off that second time, he had a step on Tyrone Williams. Partly by his feet, but partly by that left hand too, huh?
And he is so big, as you said. Reverse coming and dropped in the backfield by Owens. Let's see who's got it.
A lot of times those plays are just momentum killers, and you kill yourself trying to trick them when you don't need tricks. You have your quarterback is perfect. Steve Young is perfect. He's what, 10 for 10 or 11 for 11?
10 for 10.
You don't need reverses.
And that's a hard play to run. Owens did scramble around and got it back, but they lost yardage.
This is always a tough thing, because you get a guy taking ball handling who isn't used to it. And he's running, and the quarterback is running one way. The guy running the reverse is running the other way.
Yep.
And again, Terrell Owens is the guy, number 81, who runs the reverse, and he's not used to getting a handoff from a quarterback. And he just puts it out there, and they just bumble that the snap. I mean, he just never does get the handoff.
And they're lucky to get it back.
Yeah, but the 49ers didn't need that play.
That's exactly right. Young to Garrison Hurst. Close to the sideline, but Hurst out of bounds inside the Packer 30. Brian Williams pushed him out.
Well, he's been big for the 49ers this year. Garrison Hurst just coming back off a broken collarbone. But watch his protection here. You see it starts off like a draw. They get Reggie White up. Kirk Strafford does, making him think it's a draw. They try and get in the 4-hole, which is inside of Reggie. When Reggie takes that step to the inside, Garrison Hurst just breaks it to the outside. But again, that's a draw play where the offense looks like they're pass protecting. You invite the defensive line to come up the field in a pass rush, and then you run right by them.
3rd and 9, 3 wide receivers. And a timeout, San Francisco. 3-0, Green Bay leads. The cable cars of San Francisco on a slippery day. 3-0. Green Bay leads San Francisco. The 49ers at the Packer 28.
Green Bay's in that 3-3 dime, Pat. Here's where Seth Joyner most of the time will become a pass rusher.
Blitz came off the corner. The pass is intercepted by Eugene Robinson. Young's first miss, and Robinson's got some room. Eugene Robinson still on his feet. Out of bounds Lions at the San Francisco 28 by Chris Dolman.
Eugene Robinson just ran out of gas down there. But again, they start with that 3-3 dime that we talked about. That means that they have 3 defensive linemen, and then they're going to have their 6 defensive backs. And you see that they have the whole thing covered. So they have 2 safeties back here. So they instead of blitzing, they kind of fake the blitz and they stop. And you see Steve Young throw the ball, and Eugene Robinson, he got a jump on it because he knew that he had a defender behind him. Now watch Robinson. He grabs Brent Jones a little there and then jumps in front of him.
And just ran out of gas at the end of the run, as you said. First down, Green Bay at the San Francisco 28. Levens. And Levens gets only a yard.
You know, and Steve Young was almost, well, he was perfect up until that point, and then we go back to what are the problems that the 49ers have had with the Green Bay Packers over the years, and it's been turnovers.
Well, they almost had a turnover on that reverse to Owens earlier, and then Robinson made the play covering Brent Jones.
And that's the thing Steve Young was talking about. He said when we move the ball, we have to get 7s, not 3s, but even worse than 3s is nones.
Favre looks inside, hits Freeman. Antonio Freeman puts the Packers ahead further.
You talk about big receivers, and what Antonio Freeman did is he just got inside of Marquez Pope, and that's that slant pattern. And he beat Marquez Pope. That wasn't something he did down the field. He did it right off the line of scrimmage.
Line of scrimmage. You're exactly right. He has come up with some big plays, and here's another.
And you're going to see there's Marquez Pope. You see, right at that point, he's beaten right now. He has him. Marquez Pope goes for a strip. Then there's a couple of poor tacklings, a couple of poor angles. But Marquez Pope was beaten right at the line of scrimmage.
10-0 Green Bay. Longwell's extra point is good. Favre, 20th career postseason touchdown pass to Antonio Freeman.
Yeah, we talked about Marquez Pope. He's right here. He's going to miss inside, but then watch Merton Hanks. He takes a bad angle, and then Rod Woodson comes over and takes a bad angle. So the first part is right there. See, he gets inside. Now watch Merton Hanks. Bad angle. Now watch Rod Woodson. That was a whiff. So part of it was right off the bat. It was Marquez Pope. Then it was Merton Hanks. Then it was Rod Woodson.
Longwell's bouncing kick. Fielded by one of the wedge blockers, Frank Pollock.
Now watch Marquez Pope, Pat. That was after he had missed that. And then he went for the strip and missed that. Marquez Pope, that's his reaction because he knows that play cost him a touchdown. Then you look at the winner, how he reacts.
It's raining.
I'll tell you, he made a pretty good run. I mean,
yes, he did.
I mean, Antonio Freeman by getting inside of Marquez Pope was good. And then by running right by Hanks and Woodson, that was pretty good running. And it was kind of poor angles and tackling, too.
Young back to throw it. Lofts it outside to a wide open Garrison Hurst. And Hurst gets across midfield and into Packer territory.
It was interesting that last play was a first down nickel. But you look at this, Pat, in the last 2+, including this game postseason meetings, Green Bay has scored 31 points off of 10 San Francisco 49ers turnovers, and that's what that one there was, where Robinson intercepted it and then went down and scored.
Just under 11 minutes left in the first half as Young again gives to Hurst, and the Packers are there in a hurry, led by Gilbert Brown.
Yep, the old gravedigger, he gives the old shovel move. Gilbert Brown makes a play again. We know that you're not going to run at him. Watch Gilbert Brown here. Now here's a pretty good matchup with Gogan, because he weighs about 330. Gilbert Brown's about 370. Gogan tries to cut him or get at that ankle and doesn't get it. Now if you don't get Gilbert Brown and he's free, he's going to make the play in there.
2nd and 13. Young to throw. Pump fake. Incomplete. Intended for Stokes. Blind play by Tyrone Williams. He didn't see the ball coming.
No. Tyrone Williams is up there on J.J. Stokes. So you see him. He gets his hands on him right there. Now when the ball's in the air, you can't touch him. And I don't know that there was anything wrong with that. I mean, there is some contact, but he's going back to look for the ball. And in doing so, he brings that left arm around and hits J.J. Stokes' shoulder. But they have to let him play. I mean, they have to let that stuff go. That one there.
3rd and 13. Young to throw it. Ball bounces up in the air, almost caught by Owens after it bounced up into the air.
And the Packers were in that 3-3 dime again, Pat. That's one of the things that Fritz Shurmur really likes. And, you know, he played the 49ers on this series. He played them nickel on first down, and then he played them dime on the passing down. Nickel being 5 defensive backs, dime being 6 defensive backs. So he's given them a lot of different looks with a lot of different defensive back packages.
49 punter Tommy Thompson not having his strongest day, averaging 28.5 yards. This one's better. Brooks watches it bounce, and it's going to roll dead about the 11, about the 13-yard line is where they'll finally down it. Sometimes you just can't quite get there. The NFC Championship game. Green Bay 10, San Francisco nothing. The winner will play Denver in the Super Bowl. Passes out to Henderson. Henderson gets outside the 20. Our Aflac question this week in this championship game. Championship question. Mike Holmgren is the second coach in NFL history to win at least one playoff game in 5 straight seasons. Now, who was the first? Mike Holmgren's the second. And what a coach he is. 2nd and 3. '49ers crowding the line of scrimmage. This is Levens. Hammers for a first down outside the 25, and here's the
heck of a job. Really, I mean, and he's done a job at every level. I mean, he's a high school coach here in this area, and assistant in college, assistant and offensive coordinator of the 49ers, and head coach of the Green Bay Packers.
Favre to Freeman, who made the catch. He had to come back a little bit. Rod Woodson, the cover man. And Freeman has turned into one big play receiver.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, one of the most improved players on the Green Bay Packer team. They've had stars. You know, I mean, Brett Favre is a star, and Dorsey Levens is kind of turning into one, and Mark Shamir, Robert Brooks is coming off an injury. But I think after Brett Favre, Antonio Freeman could be their next biggest star on this team.
Levens. Not much.
Chimura has someone on his foot there. He can't get his foot out. He tried to go back to the huddle, and there was someone on his foot, and then he just decided to stand there until the pile got off.
That's the best thing to do. Don't fight it.
I think Green Bay is kind of trying to show that the weather doesn't bother him. Watch Chimura right here. You see? You see? He gets caught there in the foot there. He starts to pull it out. Then after a while, he just gives up. That's the way you don't pull anything. You start jerking things, and then pretty soon you can you'll pull a ligament or a muscle or something.
Levens got a first down, 1st and 10. Favre will throw it on first down. Pass is caught again. This is Antonio Freeman. Freeman crosses the 49er 35 before he is finally taken down by Woodson.
Yeah, we saw him do it to Marquez Pope on the other side for a touchdown, this time to Rod Woodson. And when you get up there in jam coverage, when you get up there where you're going to jam him, if you're here and you're Rod Woodson like that, you better get him a jam, because if you miss him, he's going to get inside, and Brett Favre is going to get the ball to him. You see, if you're going to get up there, you better get the jam. When you miss the jam, Brett Favre is going to see it and hit you right on stride.
And he's going to get the ball there in a hurry. Hand off to Levens. Dorsey Levens bangs to the outside and gets close to the 49er 20, a first down.
You know, this was something that we're seeing here, Pat, and as I saw it right in the first series, that the Green Bay Packer offense is getting off first. And you just see everyone is getting off, and they're beating the 49ers to the punch. They started on their first drive, and they've been doing it on every drive. That they're just a half a beat quicker on offense than the 49ers are on defense. They're taking it to them on the pass protection, on the pass patterns, and on the run blocking.
And Levens, as has been said many times, gets stronger and stronger as the game goes on.
Yeah, if you don't like him now, just wait a little while.
Favre drops to throw it. Maybe. Back across the field to Levens. Only Brett Favre can do that. Out of bounds inside the 10, and the Packers will have it.
But look at Brett Favre's jersey, Pat. He's clean. I mean, he has pass protection. Part of that is that he can make those moves, but part of it is there's no one there. I mean, I mean, he's back there now. He has time, and he'll look and look and look and move and move and move. That's way too much time to get Brett Favre. If you give him that much time in or out of the pocket, he's going to kill you.
He didn't quite get to the 10-yard line.
Watch this. You see the 3-on-2. If they're going to get pressure, they have to get pressure up the middle. And I'll tell you, Frank Winters, Aaron Taylor, and Adam Timmerman did a great job on that pass protection.
They can make a first without scoring. That's Dorsey Levens, and he's going to be taken down for no gain by Roy Barker.
Roy Barker's an interesting guy. You see, sometimes he doesn't even get down in a 3-point stance. On that play before, he just stayed up there in a 2-point stance, and he gives them a little pass rush, but really gives them strength with a running game at the point of attack. And sometimes they'll bring in Kevin Green to get a rush from that position, but he gives them a 290-pound defensive end that gives you a point on that left side.
They can make a first down without scoring. 2nd and 10.
Oh, that's Earl Dotson.
Earl Dotson moved early.
That's that snap count. You know, one thing that Brett Favre likes to do is go snap count.
Ball start. Offense, number 72. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
He'll go quick count. Here's what I was talking about Roy Barker. You see him, he's a defensive end up in a 2-point stance, and it was Roy Barker that made Earl Dotson move. He started to take a step, and he can do that. The defense can do that as long as they don't get in the neutral zone.
First Green Bay penalty, and this is their timeout. They have one left. The NFC Championship game at 3Com Park. Packers leading the San Francisco 49ers 10-0. 2nd and 15. Green Bay at the San Francisco 16. Favre blitz coming, and Favre just gets rid of it. They didn't pick it up.
Yeah, that was Tim McDonald again. Remember the last time Tim McDonald started to sneak up there. Here's Tim McDonald. He started to sneak up there. Brett Favre called a timeout. This time Tim McDonald times it perfectly. You see what happens? They're trying to run a screen pass to that right. So the line are pulling out, but Brett Favre has to watch. He has to wait. That's what it looks like to Brett Favre. He knows that he has a screen pass developing to his right, but he also knows that 46 is breathing down his neck.
3rd and 15. Blitz again. Favre throws it away again. Bryant Young up the middle with Kevin Green.
And that's going to be a penalty because Brett Favre was in the pocket there. If he gets outside of where the tight end would normally line up, he can throw it away. If he's not outside that area, he can't throw it away. Dick Hantak is the referee. Brett Favre is arguing that there was a receiver.
Offense, number 4.
That might have just taken him out of field goal range.
See, now if he is in this area here, in this pocket area, he cannot intentionally ground the ball. If he gets outside of that area, then he could intentionally ground the ball. But you watch where he is. You see, he's going to be inside that tight end area. So he's getting the pressure right there. Bryant Young is in the middle. Kevin Green is there. He throws it out to the right side, and there's no receiver there.
Mike Holmgren and Brett Favre do not agree. Dick Hancock.
Maybe Brett Favre did talk one of those officials into saying that there was a receiver out there.
Maybe so.
Because that is also automatic loss of down.
And as I said, that might have just taken him out of field goal range. With the wind like it is today and the ball wet.
Well, it would be right here from the 30. It's a 47-yard field goal. This is Derek Mays out there working on Tyrone Drakeford. You know, he slides and falls down, but again, that was a screen play. I mean, he had no time at all.
47 yards away. That's not going to get there. Wide right. The 49er crowd proud of the defense.
Well, of course, the 49ers being down 10-0, they haven't had a lot to cheer about today. There's Steve Mariucci. He doesn't need a lot of officiating out there.
He had an early call, didn't he?
Mike Holmgren is still complaining about that. I think he's complaining about Tyrone Drakeford holding Derek Mays. I think he's also complaining that there was a receiver out there when Brett Favre threw that ball.
He's on the competition committee, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's letting those, he's probably telling the officials about it. The officials already know about it, but you know, they're an all-star crew. This isn't a crew that works together. They're graded and then put in these positions.
Steve Young fires. Flag on the play in the middle of the field. Young's pass went out of bounds. But a flag right at midfield.
Brent Jones is amazing that he's playing today, Pat.
He is, really. I saw him Friday when we both saw him at practice Friday.
Yeah, he injured his calf, couldn't walk.
Defense, 5 yards, automatic first down.
Yeah, and he was sure that he wouldn't be able to play today, and he went down to see Dr. Dillingham, and he gave him a shot, and then he didn't practice yesterday, and there was a holding right there on Brent Jones.
Inside handoff, and this is William Floyd. Right now for highlights from today's AFC Championship game, let's go down to James Brown for a McDonald's game break.
All right, Pat, John Elway is hungry to close out his career with the Super Bowl victory. It happens because of this as he hooks up with Ed McCaffrey with time winding down in the first half. Denver beats Pittsburgh at 3 Rivers. The Broncos head to the Super Bowl. Back to Pat and John.
And the winner of this game will play Denver. 2nd and 7. Young back to throw. Gets it down the middle. Pass is caught by Brent Jones. And he was so distraught after Friday's practice. He said, Mike, what a way to end my career.
Yeah, because he's announced his retirement. This is going to be his last year. He gets hurt on a Friday practice. They take him off in a cart. And he didn't think that he'd be able to play today. But, you know, if you just know Brent Jones, he's done so many things like that. I mean, this year he's had a broken leg, and he's come back and played with it. He played with a broken wrist. He's had a concussion. Now he has this calf thing. He is one tough guy.
Who doesn't look tough. They fake that reverse again. And they have Floyd. And William Floyd goes out of bounds, covered by George Kuntz.
There is a flag on the play, too.
Yep. Going to be holding against the 49ers.
And whatever they do, they're just shooting himself in the foot. Every time they get down there, something happens.
Holding. Offense, number 66. 5-yard penalty.
Kevin Gogan.
Yeah, here's Kevin Gogan right here. And you just watch his right arm. You see him grab him. He grabs Seth Joyner right there. That's what they saw. I don't know about that, but I always taught my guys that if you're playing against someone with white jerseys, don't wear dark gloves or tape because they're going to see it on that white jersey. Now, look at Kevin Gogan. You see that dark part? Yep. That's the part they saw. You should have all white against a white jersey.
You were even looking to deceive him, right? Pass intended for Brent Jones. He got a hand on it, but was hitting the back hard.
I was just looking for my fair advantage, but I thought, you know, don't give those officials any fair advantages. Watch Brent Jones here. I mean, he gets the biggest hits I think that I've ever seen against a guy. I mean, he had
a tough guy.
Yeah, I mean, he had one last week where, in fact, it was the cover of Sports Illustrated.
Yeah.
Where he got knocked heels over head.
Or vice versa.
What? His head was down, his heels were up.
Young comes out of the pocket, scrambles out. Flag on the play. Young's going to take off. Steve Young down the sideline, slides at the 40, but the penalty marker's way back. Santana Dotson still standing back there. It's going to be against San Francisco.
And they were just getting going, and the crowd was getting into the game. The Packers had missed a field goal. The 49ers started moving the ball. Then a holding penalty. Then boom, another holding penalty. Lucky Steve Mariucci's a young guy.
Holding offense.
How long do you think that'll last? Him being a young guy.
Behind the line of scrimmage. The end of the play was beyond. We will enforce from the previous spot, 10 yards, third down. Replay the down, second down.
The first one was Kevin Gogan holding. That one was Terry Kirby holding.
If anything, it's raining a little bit harder now. I would think that'll make it more difficult for San Francisco to come from behind.
You know, Brett Favre brought up an interesting thing about the way Steve Young passes a ball, that he puts the ball in the palm of his hand, and he can be a good bad weather passer.
Three-man rush. The pass is caught, juggled, but caught by Owezike. And that'll be the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes to go in the first half. Green Bay 10, San Francisco nothing. This is highlights of the AFC Championship game, which was a dandy. Chuck Levy was in the lineup for the 49ers. The pass, Owens off his kneecaps. Terrell Owens.
And Tyrone Williams was on him. They were in that 3-3 dime we talked about. Here's Terrell Owens right there. There's Tyrone Williams. He gives him a little move, gets beyond him, and Steve Young makes a perfect throw.
What a good throw that was.
And now Steve Young and the 49ers have to think that they have to get the ball in the end zone, because they were down there in the 28.
Yep.
Remember, and he threw a interception. Floyd caught the ball to the 22, and they had the penalties. Now this is the third time they've been down there.
Right at the 10-yard line. First and goal. Young drops. Stokes is out of bounds. Made the catch, but couldn't get them both down.
These guys are making some catches for Steve Young. J.J. Stokes and Terrell Owens. Watch Stokes here again. Again, you have to catch the ball and have both feet in bounds. There's the left. Now does the right foot come down? No, the right foot was out.
Crowd boos.
Yeah, well, Steve Young is looking at it on the big screen here too. Everyone reacts. You know, it's not just the receivers and the quarterback. This is how the big old guards in there react that have to block Gilbert Brown.
Ray Brown. Here's Young back to throw again. Fires, batted back. And deflected.
That was deflected by Gabe Wilkins. You know, as of yesterday, they weren't even sure that Gabe Wilkins was going to be able to play. But watch Gabe Wilkins. He's right here. He gets a little push right there, and then gets as far as you can, and then get your hands up.
That's what they teach you.
Yep, that's exactly what they teach you. You know, not only now wait and time that thing and get up, and what you do is you take a passing lane away from them.
Third and goal at the 10. Brent Jones and Owens go left. Stokes is out to the right.
Steve Young was saying yesterday, we get down here, we have to get sevens, not threes.
Steve Young out to Garrison Hurst, who dropped it. He was at the 6. Couldn't hang on.
I don't know what kind of play that would have been anyway, because that wouldn't have given him a touchdown, nor would have given a first down. So he must not have had anything else, because to throw that out there, you have to believe that they're going to miss a bunch of tackles. And I think that even had they completed that ball, they still would have had to have kicked this field goal.
Anderson, Gary Anderson with Thompson holding. Anderson is good, and he puts the 49ers on the scoreboard. It's 10-3, Green Bay.
Down the road going da 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 da, and then we pick up guys, and then we just pick them up, we put them on, and let them do whatever they want to do.
That's how you don't get bored on the bus.
Yeah, I just have them coming and going. Wherever we go, we'll pick up someone. Like there goes Brent Jones into the locker room, and you know this is 1998 medication.
Yep.
And, 1998 medication will do wonders.
He was almost in tears Friday.
And I think he was in tears as much for the disappointment of, you know, ending a career by having to stand in the sideline and not even being able to compete in the game.
Been a great career for him. Signed as a free agent, drafted by Pittsburgh. 12 years.
Went locally to school here at the University of Santa Clara from San Jose. So he's doing all this thing in a local area.
That's Antonio Freeman returning the kickoff, and he gets out to about the 27-28. One of the world's most enduring symbols, the Goodyear Blimp Eagle, based in Carson, California, has been providing these aerial pictures. A little tough to see today. For a look inside the Goodyear Blimp and how it maneuvers, try its website, www.goodyear.com.
Wait, you would do a website to see what the blimp's doing?
I think that's the only way you can find it.
Where's the camera anyway? Is that right there?
Yeah.
That's a camera, huh?
Yeah.
So it's not even up in the blimp. The camera's under the blimp.
Favre gives to Levens. Levens just keeps pounding away to 35.
That's that old counter tray, and you know these guys are really good in the last 2 minutes. If you look at the last 2 minutes of the first half, they've scored 7 touchdowns and 6 field goals.
They have 1 timeout left.
And you know, I mean, so much of that is Brett Favre. I mean, you know that he's not only, you know, such a strong-armed quarterback, but he's very daring. I mean, he's going to go out there and he's going to challenge it. And he's not ready just to let a clock roll out.
They got Tyrone Davis in the game, and here's Favre the challenge. Going deep to Freeman, who makes catch. There's a flag on the play. Freeman gets to his feet. Antonio Freeman between 2 49er defenders, but flags on the play.
And that's Brett Favre, and it's going to be against the 49ers. You know, the clock is running down. A lot of guys, they'll take a knee, they'll run the fullback in, they'll do something. Not Brett Favre. Like I said, it's the end. He's going to challenge it. It doesn't make any difference what the situation, he'll challenge it.
Defense, number 23, penalty decline, completed pass.
Call against Marquez Pope. First down, Packers. Timeout, Packers.
Yeah, I think with 3 seconds, I think what they have to do is they're going to have to kick a field goal here, try a field goal.
Longwell's out on the field.
Yeah, I mean, they could they're only going to get 1 more play, so if they don't take the field goal, then they would have to let Brett Favre try and throw one into the end zone.
Don't forget to stay with us at the half. The Dockers Khakis halftime report coming up. JB and the group on the scene.
You know, it's always tough to, you know, the crowd. They always try and get the crowd in. They say this, you know, here in San Francisco, the crowd's not loud. But plays like that will always quiet a crowd. You know, that the home team has to give the crowd something to yell about. I mean, they can't be yelling when the pass is in there. Now they can yell, you know, don't make the field goal.
This one's going to be from 43 yards out by Longwell. That one's going to get there. And that one's good. With 3 seconds to go, the Packers add 3. That's the end of the first half with the score. Green Bay 13, San Francisco 3. The NFC Championship on Fox will continue with the Dockers Khakis half.
Saturday, 5 Eastern Time on Prime, Canada's Superstation.
(13-3) as both teams have returned from their halftime lectures from the coaching staff. And let's look at first half statistics, John.
You know, if you look at them and you say, why is San Francisco behind? I look at 2 things right here. Rush yards. They haven't been able to run the ball. I mean, when you only run the ball for 15 yards. That's not good enough for the Hat. And then the other thing is the old turnover. They've had one turnover that led to 7 of Green Bay points. So you look at those two things because they've been able to pass the ball. They've had the time of possession. They've had all those other things. But the two areas that kind of stand out here are not being able to run the ball, and then, of course, that one turnover.
And that's the two things that they really wanted to do and wanted to correct.
You know, and both these teams talked about how they were going to throw the ball to the wide receivers. And you can see Green Bay, 6 to the wide receivers, 1 to the tight end, 3 to the running backs. And
there's Antonio Freeman's touchdown.
Yeah, and he does it on both sides. And, you know, we just talk about how if they're going to press him, he beats the corner right on the line of scrimmage. See, that's where he wins that battle. And that timing between he and Brett Favre is so good that if he wins the battle quickly, then some big things can happen at the other end.
A heck of a catch there that set up the field goal right at the half. Look at San Francisco.
That was coming off a choke, that last one. But again, they're doing the same thing, throwing to the wide receivers. 9 to the wide receivers, 2 to the tight ends, 3 to the running backs. Both these teams feel that they can work the outsides.
Aaron Hayden will return the kickoff. A short kick it was to the 26. And right now on the sideline, let's send you down to Ron Pitts.
Thank you very much, Pat. Talked to both coaches coming off at halftime. Steve Mariucci said we got to get back to running the football like we know we can run it. And then the field position bothered him. We want to get ourselves in better field position. He said he's not going to do anything to change up the game plan because of the weather. They're going to stick with it. Mike Holmgren said he's very happy with the way things are going, but he wants to try to put a lot more pressure on Steve Young. Back up to you, Pat.
All right, Ron, thank you. Mike Holmgren certainly had a period there where he wasn't all that happy with the way things were going after that.
Well, yeah, he had that drive and the intentional grounding penalty and the holding on Derek Mays. And
Packers from the 26. Play pass outside to Henderson. Woodall is there quickly, and he is down, incomplete as the ruling.
Well, and he was there quickly, Pat. Lee Woodall read that thing all the way. They're going to try and get William Henderson out here in the flat quickly. But watch Woodall. He's coming just as quickly, and he really lowers the boom. I don't know that that's not a fumble. The people here are looking and saying, did he have control of it? He did have control, and he turned. That should have been a fumble.
And the 49ers had picked it up.
Yeah, because he did catch that ball, have control, and he fumbled it as he started to turn and was hit by Lee Woodall.
And they're still booing.
Rightly so.
2nd and 10. Levens. A couple. Hit from the outside by Lee Woodall.
Yeah, I think they went in there. No, you know, we talk about the finality and we talk about the urgency. And you know that when you get to this point and you only have one half left, there's only one half of football. Whoever wins this game goes to the Super Bowl and plays the Denver Broncos. The loser doesn't play again until August. There's Woodall. He's coming off the block. He just hangs in there. And I'll tell you, he really does unload when he tackles.
3rd and 9. Favre retreats. Wide open is Derek Mays, and he gets enough for a first down. Tyrone Drakeford, the cover man, but Mays got the first down.
Derek Mays is a 3rd wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers, and Mike Holmgren was saying yesterday that we need a big game from him. And again, because he comes in and they want to play a lot of 3 wide receivers. You can see here he is. There's just no one there. He just runs a little slant and he stops, and it's against the zone. There's no one in that zone. So Derek Mays just stops there, and Brett Favre hits him with the ball, and then they roll him in the mud a little.
And they get a first down in the process. 1st and 10, Green Bay. Flags fly. Levin stopped.
Flags flew and whistles blew before the ball was snapped. That has to be an offensive penalty.
Offense, number 72, 5 yards, still first down.
Earl Dotson.
Yeah, if the defense jumps, the offense gets a free play. If the offense jumps, they stop the play. Earl Dotson is right up here, the right tackle, number 72, and you see him. And in fact, that's one that you don't need to. When if you're at the point of attack, if the ball's being run at you, then you know that you have to get off. But when the ball's being run away from you, you don't have to jump offside.
1st and 15. Dorsey Levin. Broke one tackle, but Tim McDonald put the finisher on Dorsey Levens.
I'll tell you one thing I can tell about this game in this second half is this 49er defense has come out with a lot more urgency. In the first half, they were getting beaten by that half a step. I mean, the Packers were just getting off first on everything, and they're not so far. That's probably what they talked about.
Very aware of the finality you were talking about. Gary Plummer.
Yeah, you got one more half. You're down 13-3, and you got one more half of football to turn this thing around, or you go home.
2nd and 15. 3 wide receivers for Green Bay. Favre. Wide open is Tyrone Davis, and he gets to midfield and gets the Green Bay first down.
Perfect read by Brett Favre. You know what happens? It was Norton was out there, and he's on the slot, and he comes on a blitz off the slot. And then so that receiver on that side of the blitz becomes the hot receiver. And you just see he's out here. See, now once Brett Favre sees this coming, he knows that he wants to hit in the area that he's vacated. Now watch the blitz come from there, and boom, he goes right to that area where that defensive guy vacated.
Tyrone Davis made the catch, and the Packers have said almost every week we got some things planned for him. Favre comes out of the pocket, gets away from one, lofts it for Levens, and overthrows.
Brett Favre has something to say to everyone. He talks to defensive linemen. He talks to defensive backs. He talks to linebackers. He talks to coaches. But this is what I like right there. He always has a smile on his face. And I believe that. And and that's why, he's one of my real favorites, because if it is a game, it should be played like a game. It should be fun. And if it's fun, you should have a smile every once in a while.
And to him, it is a game.
And it is fun.
And he was talking about playing baseball in the 8th grade, and I'm sure he had the same kind of fun then. That's Dorsey Levens. Gets to about the 46.
Well, he was talking about playing high school baseball in the 8th grade. I don't know how that works, but he said he was better than the other guys. He said he beat out a senior.
So he played.
But I don't know how you can be in grammar school and play on the high school team, but that was down in Kill, Mississippi.
Well, there are not a lot of people in Kill, Mississippi.
Oh, he said the guys used to wear those Levi jackets under their game uniforms, and we didn't even look good.
On 3rd down, Favre retreats. Pass is caught by Levens, who looks like he's about a yard shy of a first down. Ken Norton out with him. This is going to be close.
It's going to be a right foot, left foot deal, and it was a right foot, which means it's short. And it's probably Levens was right there, and he can see that. You see this thing here? That's the marker, so he knows where he had to go. And you can see that they're going to be a couple inches short, and they're going to go to the punt formation.
Punting team comes on. Craig Hentrick. Levens.
Dorsey Levens is getting it right there, and he's trying to get that ball out beyond that first down marker. And again, it's where the ball is when his knee goes down. That's the spot.
Mike Holmgren asked for a measurement, and they'll give him to him.
And one of the reasons you do that is you just want to get a little extra time to think about this decision.
Foot?
I think he's made his decision to punt. But he just wanted a little more time to think about it. He's satisfied that he's going to stay with that. And I think in a game like this and in this situation, I think that's the right move. You don't want to give the 49ers, because as Ron Pitts was saying, Steve Mariucci talked about field position, and you don't want to give them good field position by going for a 4th down and not getting it here.
Well, on a field like this, on a day like this, they've chosen to punt. Now here comes Favre in the offensive unit.
That's why he measured it to think about it. And I was saying how good the punt was, and then he thought it over. Or maybe he got talked out of it. That happens too.
By Brett Favre, I'll bet you.
Yeah, but that's one of the reasons you ask for the measurement, is give yourself some more time to think about it. And then this is what he thought about, and he thought about, let's go for it and let's go on this play.
He'll go on a quick count. No, he doesn't. He's giving him a chance to jump.
Hard count.
Hard count.
Trying to get him offsides. They aren't going to run a play.
Long count.
The Packers won't run a play. They're just trying to draw him offside. They'll take the 5-yard penalty and punt.
That's exactly what happened. To keep it dry for Rob Davis.
Well, you know, they do have 36 footballs. They have 18 brand new footballs per half. And I know when I was coaching, I always said it was the job of the center to always snap a dry ball. That you don't have to. That if you're the center and if the ball is not dry, you can ask for a dry ball.
They're coming after it. Hendrick gets it off. 49ers signaled fair catch. Chuck Levy had to dive for it. Does he have fun? Didn't work, but we still tried.
That was one last try. Nothing's worked yet. Let me bend over there and just talk to Dana Stubblefield, see if I can get him to jump.
Young throws quickly outside. Pass caught by Kirby. Kirby gets outside the 20. Leroy Butler. Or more correctly, Leroy Butler.
Yeah, Terry Kirby did a nice job against Minnesota running. And, of course, he's kind of the pass receiving running back of the 49ers. And the 49ers like to have a pass receiving running back, and then they line him not only in the backfield, but they line him up outside as a wide receiver like they did that time to Terry Kirby.
2nd and 5. Ball to Kirby. Got a yard, perhaps. Bernardo Harris, first man there. An assist for Reggie White.
Yeah, Reggie White has kind of been quiet.
Yeah.
In fact, you know, last week against Tampa Bay, we didn't hear Reggie White's name mentioned much, and we didn't hear it mentioned much today. Nor have we heard Gilbert Brown's name mentioned much today.
One play I can remember for Big Gilbert. Reggie, as they say, is not what Reggie used to be, but he's still pretty good.
Yeah, and you know, and when he gets good is on this down right here. You watch Reggie White right here on 3rd down pass rushing.
Terry Kirby made the reception from Young, and Eugene Robinson saw it coming and cut him down.
Yeah, and the fans don't like that one either. I mean, that's the one that this offense has where they, you know, you have 3rd and 3 or 4 and you throw a 1-yard pass, and that's never made a heck of a lot of sense, but they continue to do it, so it must make sense in that. It must make sense to them.
I know it doesn't make sense to you.
No, I mean, it drives me nuts. It drives me completely nuts.
Thompson's punt. Line driver to Robert Brooks, who retreats to the 30. Brooks got some room. Brooks gets a good return to the 49er 45. Stopped by Jim Schwantz.
But, boy, there's some action over in the other side. That was Buckley on the other side, away from the return. 2 guys had him down and pinned.
Yeah. 13-3, 8:01 left in the 3rd.
You know, we always talk about these guys holding up. We never really talk about who they are, but this is who they are. And watch the job that they do on Buckley here. Curtis Buckley's number 28. He's going downfield for the 49ers. And I've always said they let anything go on those punt returns.
Levens took the pass from Favre and got a Green Bay first down to the 35. The San Francisco 35. Ken Norton made the stop.
And again, the Packers look like they're getting that speed thing back again. You know that that they had it in the first half, then they lost a little. Looks like the 49ers took it back. But sometimes, you know, a punt return, like Robert Brooks's punt return, can get that back for you too.
1st and 10, right at the 35. No blitz. Levens. Banged out of bounds by Hanks, but he got 9. Right now, for highlights from today's AFC Championship game, let's go down to James Brown for a McDonald's game break. Packers back ready, 2nd and 1. Henderson. I don't know if he got it. Like he might be a half-yard short.
You know, made a good block on that play before was Ross Verba. He was on Chris Dolman. He blocked Dolman, and that was a block that let Levens get to the outside. He's really been for a rookie, big old 78 down there at the bottom of the pile. Looked like he just hurt his right hand, but he's really been a steadying influence on this offensive line. When he became the starter at left tackle, that kind of solidified that offensive line of the Green Bay Packers and made them a more complete offense than they had been before they put Ross Verb in there.
They're going to measure again to see how close or how much the Packers need.
This field is a very heavy field, and it doesn't look like it may be on television, but it's pretty slippery down there, and these are tough things to do. I mean, these are tough things to dig in and get short yardage and goal lines. These are not as easy to block as it is on a dry field or on artificial turf.
About 2 feet.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised in this situation if he goes for it. I mean, last time he decided he was going to kick, and then he came back and went for the hard count. I wouldn't be surprised that he goes for it.
It's third down. So you know he's going to go for it.
He's going to go for it on third down, yeah. But I think once you get inside this situation, I think it is a 4-down situation for him.
Well, I agree.
And if he ever gets a short yardage again, I think, a 4th down short yardage, I think he would legitimately go for it.
Far to Henderson, and Henderson gets the first down. Hit by Plummer. But he got inside the 25-yard line of San Francisco. Meantime, the clock continues to run.
And that's what Mike Holmgren is thinking too, is to control the clock. And you control the clock with your running game, with safe type passes, and you don't have to open up anything now. You just want to keep your offense on the field and keep their defense off. Their offense off the field.
Favre looked as if he was trying to hand off to one of the 2 backs. He went right between them.
And someone went the wrong way. Yep. And this will drive a coach crazy. Mike Holmgren was just getting to feel pretty good about things. They call a play, and then this happens. He turns to the left. He's looking to hand off the ball to the left. The back goes to the right, and then Brett Favre is just sitting there with it.
Nobody to give it to.
Watch, Dorsey Levens goes to the right. He was expecting Levens to go to his left, so then he just followed him around to the right.
2nd and 19. Kimura moves over and sets up on the right side. And Favre drops to throw it. Incomplete. Behind Henderson.
Yeah, see, that changes everything. Yeah. Now the 49ers can come in a pass rush, and now they get 3rd down. They can give the nickel. They can bring in Kevin Green. They can do all those types of things just because of a miscue by the Packers. Just, a back going the wrong way because they were starting to control things. They were starting to control the clock. Then a guy goes the wrong way. Now they're in long position, and now they're going to get these big yardage downs. Watch this. It's going to hit Dana Stubblefield right in the head. That's not even getting a hand up or anything. That's just a low pass when you hit the defensive tackle in the head.
Favre back to throw it. Lofts it deep. Caught and dropped. It was Antonio Freeman who had it and lost it. Tyrone Drakeford back there with him.
Tyrone Drakeford saying, no more of that. Here's Tyrone Drakeford. He's number 22. He's playing man-to-man on Antonio Freeman. He sees the ball, and right there, in fact, he not only got his right hand in there, he gets both hands in there.
And pulled it loose.
I know it. I mean, watch. He gets both hands on that. Usually a defensive back will just put like one hand in there and try and rip it out. Tyrone Drakeford looked like he was going to intercept it.
Hendricks kick. A high knuckler. It's going to be down by Green Bay inside the 5 at about the 2-yard line. Good job by the punter. It won't show up as a statistically good job, but it is very effective. 13-3 in the NFC Championship game. The 49ers with Terry Kirby, the deep back. We have not seen Garrison Hurst in the second half.
I don't see him down there in the sideline either.
That's Kirby behind the blocking of William Floyd out to about the 5. I don't know what's wrong with Antonio Freeman. He was the intended receiver when he got tangled up with Drakeford.
Well, they're trying to stretch something out, and whether it's the leg or the back or whatever, he's been down there and working on stretching. You see, in fact, he got one of those boots that they stand on,
yep.
A stretching device.
Yeah.
His foot is up a little so that he can Probably stretched the calf or the hamstring.
2nd and 6. Kirby. Terry Kirby moves it out close to first down yardage.
You know, Garrison Hurst had a broken collarbone, and he'd been out. It had happened 6 weeks ago, and he was just cleared this week to play. In fact, he had a CT scan. There he is. Right. Doesn't look like he's going to be in there. I don't think he's been in the second half.
No, he hasn't.
And, you know, I wonder if something happened again to that collarbone, because you can see it's not just where they're putting Kirby in for him.
It's a steady diet of Kirby. Clock continues to tick down the seconds. 3:35 left in the third quarter. First down by Terry Kirby. Gets some breathing room for the 49ers.
And this is where, if you're going to run in the middle, you have to get big Gilbert Brown block. Now watch Chris Dahlman. He's the center. He gets a pretty good block there, and then Ray Brown comes down on him. So that's what they try and do. They try and get him, you know, engaged with the center, and then let the guard pick him off the center.
2nd and 5. Young fakes to Kirby. Gets the ball out to Stokes. Terrell Owens, beg your pardon. They're both about the same size, Stokes and Owens, both big wide receivers.
Yeah, and I think that we're going to have to see more of this, more of Steve Young. I mean, Steve Young, at some point, if the 49ers are going to win this game, Steve Young is going to have to take it over. And he's going to have to take it over by doing things like that, throwing the ball, bootlegging, and then sometimes just keeping the ball and running and just keep getting first down.
First down, San Francisco. J.J. Stokes, the intended target, well out of bounds right now for highlights from today's AFC Championship. And in the NFC Championship game, only the 5th wild card team to advance to the Super Bowl, the Broncos. We'll see who plays them. William Floyd was the ball carrier. Did well to hang on.
And we talked about the quickness of Brian Williams, and you saw at that time. I mean, Williams is just going, as they start back here, he's just going to dart through. You see him right here? He just darts through, gets the penetration as they pull. He goes where the guy pulled from and came right in behind.
3rd and 14. The guards cleared, and he got there in a hurry.
And that's where speed and quickness really help you. I know Ron Wolf was talking about Brian Williams the other day and saying that his 2 most improved players are Brian Williams and Antonio Freeman.
Young to throw it. Flag on the play in the middle of the field. The pass is incomplete. Intended for Uwezike.
And the flag was thrown in the area where Terrell Owens was.
Holding. Defense. Number 36. 5 yards. First down.
Holding against Leroy Butler.
Hey, you're going to see Leroy Butler is right up there, and he's on Brent Jones. He just grabs him. He just holds him all the way.
Yep.
You know, again, for 5 yards, you can bump him and you can hit him, but you can't grab him and hold him. And I think he learned that move from Wayne Simmons. Remember when Wayne Simmons was a linebacker for the Green Bay Packers?
Sure.
He was an artist at holding up a tight end.
Reggie White getting a rest. Paul Fraze is the defensive end, and this is Kirby. And the Packer defense pursues well, led by Bernardo Harris.
That's the thing. One of the things when you have a good defensive line, especially when Gilbert Brown is in there, a lot of times they'll double team, and then when they double team Gilbert Brown, they'll free up the linebackers, and that's what Fritz Schirmer's defense is all about, where linemen take 2 blocks and then free up linebackers like Bernardo Harris to make plays like that.
Bob Kuberski in the middle of the Green Bay defense now.
Bob Kuberski out of Navy.
Right.
Naval Academy.
2nd down and long. Young to throw. Has time. Brent Jones intended, and a flag on the play. He did indeed. Brian Williams held him.
You know, Brent Jones is just a target to be held. You know, it was Leroy Butler who had held him the play before, and now it was Brian Williams holding again Brent Jones on that play.
Interference. Defense. Number 51. First down.
There's Brent Jones. He's standing up. He's split out a little. Brian Williams, again, has good speed, and he can cover a tight end. He doesn't have to grab him.
Right.
You see what they call? He just put that right hand and grabbed Brent Jones's jersey, and you saw the 8 kind of separate from the 4 on Brent Jones.
1st and 10. Young to throw it. Got away from one rusher. Dotson was in pursuit as Young threw it away. Owens, the intended receiver.
You know, everyone always has thought over the years that Steve Young is a lot tougher when he scrambles, and then when he scrambles to his left, that he doesn't scramble, you know, and run to his right and throw as well as he does when he's running to his left.
I don't think there's much doubt about that, as much as we've seen him.
Yeah. I mean, that's when he, you know, all his big plays, it seemed like over the years that I could remember, his scrambling plays or running and throwing have always been out to his left, including the bootlegs, too.
2nd and 10. Terry Kirby gets a couple of yards. Reggie White.
You know, like Ron Pitts was saying, he talked to Steve Mariucci at halftime, and, you know, that they wanted to stay with the run, and you can see that. I'm sure that's what Steve Mariucci, the head coach of the 49ers, who calls the plays. Both of these head coaches call their own plays, but they have to discipline themselves to keep calling runs, because any play caller, once they get away from the run and get to the pass, they have a tough time getting back to calling running plays.
3rd and 7. Kirby is the lone back, and Young fakes quick, goes deep. Pass is knocked away, intended for Stokes, who couldn't come down with it. Good coverage.
You can just look at that field, and especially on that side, Pat, that whole left side of the field over there is really slick. You can see the ball coming in the air. You can see the rain. And watch what happens to J.J. Stokes when he goes down. I mean, he jumps up there, and then once he gets down, that's all water and mud there.
Tyrone Williams, the defender.
And then those gloves get wet, the balls get wet, the hands get wet. I mean, these are tough passing conditions.
Thompson back to punt it. Brooks deep for Green Bay. Good kick this time by Thompson, but the wind's got it. It almost came straight down and then bounded out of bounds. That's the end of the 3rd quarter. With the score, Green Bay 13, San Francisco 3. The NFC Championship on Fox will continue after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. Green Bay 13, San Francisco 3. Pat Summerall with John Madden. The Packers leading. Brooks split wide right. Freeman must be okay. He split wide left. Favre gives to Levens. Levens has a blocker in front, and Dorsey Levens gets about 9, maybe got more. And now let's go down to the field and Ron Pitts.
All right, Pat, the word on Garrison Hurst is there's nothing wrong with him physically. This is simply a coach's decision. He's on the sidelines. He's not in the game. Like we said, we haven't heard anything about he's injured. He's just not playing because the coaches don't want him to play right now. Back up to you, Pat.
All right, Ron, thank you.
I don't know why the coaches wouldn't want him to play right now if he's healthy. I mean, I would, you know, because Terry Kirby really doesn't have a burst to get to the outside and can't do some of the things that Garrison Hurst can do. And if Garrison Hurst is healthy, they need him in the game.
That's Levens again. He has the first to the 35.
You know, Dorsey Levens was saying yesterday the reason that he thinks that he gets stronger as the game goes on in the 3rd and 4th quarter is that he gets more patient. You know, that he starts to get a little tired, and then he'll let some of these blocks develop. I mean, you see Frankie Winters getting a block in there, holding things, Aaron Taylor getting his block, and then he'll wait for those things to happen, be patient, and then get in there behind him.
1st and 10. Favre to throw it. Maybe Favre to run it. Taken down from behind by Tim McDonald.
That's the old 8-man up. We talked about both teams doing that a lot, because when you start running, you got to get some help, and you got to get the 8th guy up. The 8th guy always being the safety. Watch number 46, Tim McDonald. Again, he times it perfectly. Instead of the run, in fact, he ran right into the hole that they were faking. They were faking into the 4 hole. Tim McDonald blitzed into the 4 hole. It was a play pass. He went right beyond the runners and into Brett Favre.
Second, they need 13 for a first. Brooks was the man in motion. Up the middle, Kimura.
You know, one thing that the Packers do a lot of things well. That's why they're world champions. But they really protect the ball well. I mean, you know, their pass receivers, when they catch the ball, they give it their runners, Dorsey Levens. You know, Brett Favre just doesn't give it away. And the 49ers need a takeaway, and the Packers aren't in a mode to give them a giveaway.
Third down. About 5. Look for Mays. Flag on the play. I think it was Earl Dotson again.
Yep, and I think that was Kevin Green was on him. Kevin Green, the pass rusher, lines up and again makes a little move, but doesn't go into neutral zone, and Earl Dotson jumps.
False start offense, number 72 prior to the snap. 5 yards, still third down.
That's at least Earl Dotson's third one, but watch Kevin Green here. He gives him a little move, and I think, see, when he moves right there, that's what Earl Dotson reacts to. That Earl Dotson was looking out at Kevin Green, watching him all the way, because that's the guy he has to block in pass protection.
And you know he has great respect for Kevin Green's speed around the corner.
And that's where Kevin Green is going to be. I mean, he's going to line up wide like he is here and just try and go right around Earl Dotson.
Brooks, the man in motion. The handoff is to Levens. And the Packers don't take any chances.
And that's probably why they take such good care of the ball, because they know that, you know, that they can't give away a turnover now, because that's what the 49ers are looking for. That's what they're waiting and watching for.
Craig Hentrick back to punt it. Chuck Levy back deep. Take as much time off the clock as you can. Hentrick's kick is not bad. Levy at the 15. Shakes one tackler. And steps out of bounds at about the 15.5. So the 49ers will take over from there with 85 yards left to go to get closer.
Right there, that's Steve Bono, the backup quarterback.
Bono, who of course played here for San Francisco and then went to Kansas City and now rejoins Mike Holmgren in Green Bay. Here's Steve Young back to throw, gets it outside to Kirby. Kirby, not much.
Yeah, and the 49ers can't take advantage of the blitz. You know, we showed Tim McDonald blitz before on that one. Leroy Butler blitzed and did the same thing, and so Steve Young had to get rid of the ball. And anytime you get a safety blitz and you know that you're going to have man-to-man coverage somewhere, and you'd like to be able to take advantage of it. That time, you know, Butler blitzed and he had to throw one of those short ones that go for none yards.
So it's 2nd and 10. Young back to throw. Here comes the blitz, and Young is going to be taken down by the blitzing Bernardo Harris.
That time was Bernardo Harris, but it was the same hole that Leroy Butler had blitzed through the hole before that. And I think this is what you usually try and do to Steve Young. You want to blitz in this side and you know to his left side, so that if you do come free like Bernardo Harris does, that's the side that he's looking, that's the side that he sees. You see it every time, and you know, because if he's going to bootleg, he's going to bootleg to that side, so he'd bootleg into you. If he's going to scramble, he's going to scramble to that side, and I think that's why right now the Packers are blitzing to Steve Young's left side.
3rd and 18. Long yardage for the 49ers. The Packers again show blitz. Young gets it out, incomplete. No flag on this play. And Brent Jones is really upset.
It's not going to do any good. Eugene Robinson is in there telling him it's not true, but it doesn't make any difference. An official's not going to change at this point. Here's Brent Jones right here. You see him coming off the line. Right there, Leroy Butler hits him. I think maybe he does grab him a little in there.
Big protest by Brent Jones.
He's still protesting.
Yep.
You know, last week Brent Jones took a hit and cut his tongue, and he had to have stitches in his tongue during the game.
Another poor kick. Bounces to Brooks, and Brooks fields it and gets to the 34-yard line of San Francisco. Packers take over in great shape. They lead by 10. The NFC Championship game led by Green Bay 13-3. And look at the average starting field position this half.
Well, yesterday Mike Holmgren was saying how important that was going to be. And you can see what it's been for the Packers and against the 49ers this second half.
Dorsey Levens gets to about the 32, tripped up by Chris Dolman.
Again, the Green Bay Packers are thinking of, everything's slowing everything up.
Yep.
I mean, just taking the time, let that clock go, because the 49ers need 2 scores. And at some point, they're going to start, having an urgency about getting the ball back. And they just want to play keep away here for a while as they're getting first downs and as they're getting another score. I mean, another score could put this game away.
2nd and 8. To the 30. Stopped by Ken Norton just shy of the 30. It'll bring up a 3rd and about 5.
Yeah, we talked about who's been hurt from and who's not. I think that Ross Verba has done a nice job on Chris Dolman over there. You haven't heard a lot of Chris Dolman. He hasn't been making a lot of plays, and they've been running on that side. And the pass protection, other than the blitzes, have been pretty good today for Brett Favre.
3rd and 5. They're 3 out of 9 on 3rd down. Levens is the lone deep back. Thomason comes in motion. Favre. Robert Brooks comes down with a clutch throw, and Brett Favre really hummed it.
And Brett Favre knows that's a big play, because we just talked about what they had to do. They have to keep the ball. To keep the ball, you have to get first downs. And here it is here. Now watch the protection. They get the blitz. He gets good protection in time to get that ball off, that slant again, to Robert Brooks.
Just flicked his wrist.
Watch. Again, it's inside there. Once you beat that guy inside, and they did it again to Marquez Pope, it's the same thing. And once you get inside him like that, Brett Favre is going to see it and get you the ball.
1st and 10 at the 20. Flags come flying again. Levens had the ball.
I wonder if that's Earl Dotson again. That would be his 4th, wouldn't it?
Offense, number 72 prior to the snap.
That's
5
4.
yards, still first down.
Well, they're sure messing with him right there. And again, you see, he just moved that time. I mean, Roy Barker moves, but Barker moves after Dotson moved.
This game is presented by authority of the National Football Leagues, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the San Francisco 49ers and the NFL is prohibited.
I think because the field is so heavy, a lot of players are getting cramps. You saw Brian Williams there. Earlier we saw Antonio Freeman going through that, and it was a cramp thing.
1st and 15. Dorsey Levens. For 6 or 7 yards, and you're right, John. He finishes off a run.
Yeah, he finishes off a run, and it really helps when you have a big fullback like William Henderson leading you. I mean, you're going to see Verba here make the block right there. Watch Henderson, number 30. He finds a way to get out there, then he throws, and then that gives you the little lane so that you can finish off that run. But that's something, that you're winning the battle when you're going forward and the guys tackling you are going backwards and ending up on their backs, like Merton Hanks did.
2nd and 8. Levens again. And again, he breaks the tackle. Levens is going to have a first down and running to the 6 before Merton Hanks finally dragged him down.
Yep.
He says he gets stronger, and it looks like he does.
And they're pounding that same side. It's over there behind Verba again, that left side. They found something over here on this side that they like, and they just keep pounding it. Aaron Taylor making a good block on Stubblefield. Verba getting his block, and, of course, Henderson with a lead block. And then Dorsey Levens just getting stronger and stronger.
And did you see him protect the ball?
Yeah, and you see what Aaron Taylor's doing? He's a local guy, too.
Yeah.
Aaron Taylor is the starting left guard here. This guy right here. But he was born here in San Francisco, went to De La Salle High School in Concord. 1st
and goal at the 6 as Henderson is hit right at the line of scrimmage. Levens has carried the ball 21 times for 96 yards. The 49ers have not allowed a running back to get 100 yards against them this year.
Yeah, but when you play Dorsey Levens, there's probably a pretty good chance that that's going to happen, because the Packers will get ahead And then once they get ahead, then they slow down the game, and they give you a heavy, heavy dose of Dorsey Levens.
And 6 minutes left now.
And they found something over here that they like. Running in that area has been pretty good for them.
Looks like it's there again. Levens leans to about the 6 or 7. Plummer made the stop.
Aaron Taylor blocking downfield there, you see on Lee Woodall.
Yep.
But again, they're just getting in there behind Taylor and behind Ross Verba. Frank Winters handling that middle there. Chmura, you just see this is where they're getting it right here. See, Mark Chmura gets a good block right there. They get a lead to missed tackle by Tim McDonald, and then hard running by Dorsey Levens.
Verba got a good block, as you pointed out on previous play.
I think Verba's been getting a lot of good blocks all day.
Favre is headed for the sideline. There's Ross Verba. He was their #1 draft choice. Didn't come to training camp, held out. But since he's been installed at left tackle, they've been a better team.
Yeah, and after he did come to training camp, he got in a fight in training camp every day.
Yeah. And that same thing occurred in college, so I hear. It's a soggy day in San Francisco.
You know, when I was a kid, Pat, I always wanted to be that guy that drove that thing, that cable car. And you see what he was getting ready to do there is you turn it around on that turning thing. I always wanted to be that guy that did that.
Never happened, huh?
No.
Favre. Incomplete. Intended for Chmura.
Did you hear that flop in the end zone? It sounded like a fish flopping on the ground. Watch Chmura. He's gonna come in here, and they both go down. He and Rod Woodson. The ball's outside, but that was a heck of a mud flop.
A good slide.
Watch Antonio Freeman up here upside. It looks like he's getting a cramp in there. You see how at the end of the play that left leg of his just cramped up again.
25 yards out. And the field goal is good by Longwell. 16-3 now. The Packers lead with 5:04 left. Back at the NFC Championship game, Green Bay 16, San Francisco 3. 5:04 left to play.
You know, the 49ers in this second half have only had 8 net yards passing.
That's hard to win many.
No, and this Green Bay Packer defense and Fritz Shermer has come up with a heck of a scheme. When you can hold the 49ers to that and only 3 points, you've done a job on defense.
Levy downs it in the end zone. 16-3 Green Bay. Green Bay 16, San Francisco 3. With less than 5 minutes to play. Green Bay has not allowed a touchdown pass in the last 30+ quarters. Indianapolis beat them. And that's the last team to score a touchdown by passing against them.
That's what you do when you win a Super Bowl. You can just have a tattoo right on your arm that says World Champions.
Young to throw it. Gets it across the field. And the ball came loose. There's the great Jerry Rice, who missed most of the year, tried to come back, fractured his kneecap, says he'll be back, said he could play in the Super Bowl, as a matter of fact, if they win.
Yeah, and he's been such an inspiration to this football team and to this entire community. I mean, everyone loves Jerry Rice. I mean, Jerry Rice plays the game the way it should be played, always has, and one of the best that's ever played his position.
Young is hit, and the Packers pick it up, and the 49ers pick it up. And let's see who got it. I think San Francisco got it back. Young was hit from behind by Reggie White.
By Reggie White. I was going to say, did you see the guy that caused the trouble? It was Reggie White. Remember at the end of the Super Bowl last year, it was Reggie White, and he does things like this. He's going against Kirk Strafford, and you think that Reggie White can't be Reggie White, but Reggie White can still raise some havoc on you.
(16-3) Green Bay leading. The presentation of the George Halas Trophy will take place after the conclusion of the game, and it will be outside on the field. Right now, it would appear that it's going to be the Packers with a chance to defend their world championship. Here's Young back to throw it. Gets it outside to Terry Kirby, and there's nothing there. That's one of those you wonder why passes.
Yeah, you wonder why, and part of it is defense. And, we talked about the job that Fritz Shermer has done. He's given a different look every down. He's rolled guys in and out, and he's just clamped on all those receivers. And the only thing that Steve Young has is those little short ones. And that's, and he's been able to, and as the game has gone on, and maybe it's weather, but I think a big part of his defense, too, his passes have become shorter and shorter. 4th
and 11. Young retreats. White around the corner, force him to step up, and down he goes. Keith McKenzie took him down. Reggie White made him take that step forward.
Yep, and Seth Joyner was in there, too, in the ground. And yes! This is one of these guys, Seth Joyner, that's been in football forever and has said that, that he came to the Green Bay Packers to get into the Super Bowl, and Seth Joyner's going to be going to a Super Bowl this year.
49ers have 2 timeouts left. There's Seth Joyner.
He's wanted to be here for so many years and so bad, and remember the years he played with the Philadelphia Eagles and then Arizona, and Reggie White was instrumental in bringing him here to Green Bay, or to Green Bay, and he said it's all about getting to a Super Bowl, winning a Super Bowl, and getting a ring.
Favre has Levens behind him, and he gives the ball to Dorsey Levens, who hammers down inside the 5. He should be getting close to 100.
And this is what postseason football is all about. You look at Green Bay's defense. They've allowed 492 yards. Only rushing yards are allowed 122. Only 1 touchdown.
1 touchdown.
And they've had 3 interceptions. And that's what defense really wins championships. I mean, and especially when you get weather like we've had here today, like you get in Green Bay. And I think you can't give enough credit to Leroy Butler right there, and the job that he's done. To all those defensive players, and to their coach Fritz Shermer, the way he's mixed things up and called things.
Dorsey Levens bangs into the end zone. The Packers are going to advance to play Denver.
And they can start their celebration now.
Levens is the first back to gain 100 yards against the 49ers this year. 24 carries, 107 yards.
And that's the 8th time he's gained 100 yards against teams this year. Look at, everyone knows what this means to Seth Joyner. Everyone knows what this means to all the guys. But look at Reggie White. That is something. Reggie White hugging Seth Joyner. All they've been through for all those years.
Longwell's extra point is good. And Green Bay takes a 23-3 lead.
They can say it's about money and players play for money, but I say it's about championships and rings.
Team next Sunday at 3 Eastern, 2 Central, 4 Pacific. Check your local listings for the start time in your area.
And we'll have some of these guys on it, I'll guarantee you, and some of these guys on it too. I mean, Brent Jones, a real warrior, probably playing the last professional game of his life. Didn't want it to end this way with an injury and a loss in a championship game. But what a year for the Green Bay Packers. When you are the defending champions, from preseason all the way through the regular season to postseason, everyone plays you tougher than they play anyone else. Everyone plays you like it's their Super Bowl. And to get through that, the way they have is amazing.
Longwell's kick is going to be handled by Levy at the 5. 3 minutes to go, and here comes Levy. Chuck Levy. He's going to take it all the way. Did he step out of bounds? I don't think so.
I don't think so either, Pat. Chuck Levy's the fastest guy in the 49er team, and once he got to about midfield, you could see that no one was going to catch him.
95 yards. The first kick return for a touchdown in championship game history. AFL, NFL, AFC, NFC.
And maybe the Green Bay Packers started to celebrate too soon, because I don't think that they laid a hand on Chuck Levy.
Think so.
No one, I mean, obviously they didn't tackle him because he ran for a touchdown, but I don't know that anyone touched him all the way.
Longwell cut the official down pretty effectively.
Well, kickers have been known to cut officials down and miss ball carriers.
Yes, they have.
As they do it.
Yes, they have. Here it comes.
Ryan Longwell right there. I mean, he missed Levy by 5 yards. The only thing he could hit was an official. But now we have some excitement here at the end, because the 49ers still need a couple of scores, but at least we're going to get a onside kick in the slot.
Sure. And who knows what's going to happen to the ball in this kind of field, in this kind of condition.
Well, you see, that last touchdown was big. You know, the 49ers, they went for it on 4th down. Had they not, and Green Bay not gotten that score, and then the Packers, you know, then they probably wouldn't have kicked off to them. But, you know, if they could have got a score, they were within 2 scores. But then when the Packers scored, then it was 3 scores. So now that makes it 2 scores still. That makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But there's 2 minutes, 52 seconds to go, and the 49ers have to get 2 scores. So obviously we're going to get an onside kick here.
Special teams coach.
Yeah, George Stewart, the
George
special
Stewart.
teams coach, is there. He'll get as excited as some of his players sometimes. He's been known to run out there and do a headbutt. But I don't know how. I mean, you've done this before. You know, kicked an onside kick on a real wet and muddy field. Is that good for the onside kick? Or?
Yeah.
You can do things with the ball,
and makes the ball more difficult to handle. I don't know how it does with a bare foot, but I never tried that.
I mean, not only is it bare, but it's a muddy. I mean, you're kicking with kicking a dry ball with a muddy foot. I ought to put some action on it.
The action is there. The Packers down at Jeff Thomason, a member of the Hands team, gets Mike Holmgren.
He can't even get too excited. I mean, that was a weak applause for a guy that is winning his 2nd championship in 2 years and going to his 2nd Super Bowl in 2 years. That ball went right to Thomason. But Mike Holmgren is a guy that, you know, that deserves it. I mean, everyone works hard.
Today.
This was the last time they played. It was in 1996 at Green Bay.
41-6.
41-6. Of course, this is a different year, a different team, and congratulations to the Denver Broncos and, you know, John Elway. There's a lot of people rooting for John Elway to get there and win one, and good to see the Broncos there.
That's Dorsey Levin. And he gets inside the 35, about the 33. You heard timeout being called. Today's game is being produced by Bob Stinner, directed by Sandy Grossman. Replay producers Peter J. Macheska, associate director Mike Roig, the broadcast associates are Fran Morrison and Charles McDonald. Technical producers Bob Mueller, technical directors Joe Benda, audio supervisor Bob Siderman. The studio was produced by Scott Ackerson, directed by Bob Levy. The senior producer is Bill Brown. The executive producers of Fox Sports are Ed Gorin and David Hill, both of whom are in attendance.
And they've all done a great job. I mean, our producer Bob Stenner and director Sandy Grossman, they're special people, and
they make it great to go to work.
Yeah, they do. And I mean, it's fun, and it's fun when you work with them, and they're always on top of everything.
Levin's on 3rd down. Does not get the first. And the clock continues to run. They'll get it stopped at the 2-minute warning. San Francisco is out of timeouts, however. There's Brent Jones. What a warrior he's been over the years. The guy who takes some severe licks, talking to Jerry Rice. They were teammates for a long, long time. Still are, I guess, because it's not official about Brent retiring yet. The NFC Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Dana Stubblefield.
And you can just see the finality there, that they know it's over. They can't do anything about it until next August.
2 minutes. 2 minutes left. Green Bay 23, San Francisco 10. Packers in punt formation. The 49ers will get the ball back, but with no time left. No timeouts left. Sorry, 2 minutes left. But they've used all the timeouts, so they can't stop it. Greg Hendricks punt. Bounds down to about the 7. And the 49ers will have a long way to go.
You know, this is tough what the 49ers go through too, because you know, I've been in a number of these games and I've lost championship games, and it's, you really work like heck to get here, and you've done a lot. You won a lot of games to get here. 49ers case, they had the best record in football. They got the home field, and you can't just throw them in the bunch. I mean, they're still as good or better than most, and maybe not as good as one team.
Young to Stokes. You don't know who's coming back next year either now with the free agency. All these guys have opportunities to go somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably no team in the NFL that is going to be the same as they were the year before.
Young chased from behind, and down he goes. Just gets rid of it. Flag on the play.
I think they called that a completed pass because the guy's marking it where they caught the ball.
Flag down in the mud, however.
Well, what it was is Steve Young threw the pass, but he was over the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. But it used to be that you had such a bond with your teammates, and when you lost, if you lost, you knew you were coming back to the same people. That feeling is gone now.
Yeah, and then they still have to bond, but they have to bond quickly.
Illegal forward pass. Offense number 8. 5-yard penalty. Loss of downs. Pass from beyond the line of scrimmage.
Dick Hantack and his crew have done a good job today. And
the teams that can bond the quickest, and the coaches that can help them bond the quickest, are the teams that, you know, that win, that play in championship games, that go to Super Bowls.
Again, the presentation of the trophy as Young drops again. Firing deep for Stokes. Incomplete.
Did you notice that shot of Gilbert Brown over there in the sideline? Did you notice that Gilbert Brown didn't limp at all today?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. Well, he didn't limp at all. He was saying that last week after the game, he talked to his mom. And she just told him, she said, hey, don't limp on the field anymore. And I said, well, what'd you say? I said, your ankle was hurt. He said, I said, yes, ma'am. And Gilbert Brown did not limp. I watched him today, Pat. Gilbert Brown did not limp today.
Talk about discipline and how important it is on a football team, no matter where you are, what level you are. But when they talk about discipline, they always go back to mom.
And mom is still boss.
Yeah. Young up the middle. Wayzake made the reception.
You know, and I wonder if that rubber band on Brett Favre's right arm is going to hold up. His daughter gave it to him before the season, told him to wear it for good luck, and he's worn it all season.
49er player Wayzake is down. He had a bad knee. There's some question about whether he'd be able to play or not during the week. And in fact, Steve Mariucci said to us Friday, if he doesn't run better today than he did yesterday, he won't play. He won't even be active.
And he ran pretty well on that Friday practice when we were there.
Bag of donuts. Frank Winters.
Yeah, he was saying when he played with one team, he didn't talk to anyone. He said with the Packers, he said everyone's a friend.
Tell you what, you joke about him a lot. Brett Favre jokes about him a lot, mocks him a lot, but he's a heck of a player.
Well, he is a heck of a player. And at one time, I remember Brett Favre saying there was on offense, if there was anyone that he could least afford to miss, anyone he could least afford to lose on that team, it would be Frank Winters.
Big Gilbert, he'll fill up the picture, won't he?
Well, and he'll stop the run. And, you know, it's going to be an interesting thing when you talk about Terrell Davis running and then getting Big Gilbert Brown blocked to run.
Young's pass goes through the hands of Stokes. Brent Jones still there.
Yep, and he only has a couple plays left in his career, and he wants to play them. And you know, the finality about that is that you play all your life. I mean, you start when you're 8 or 9 or 10, then you play through grammar school, then high school, and then college, and then pros, and you've had a season every year all your life, and then you go to a point that next year you're not going to have a season, and that is tough to take.
He's still there on 3rd and 10. Young's pass incomplete. Nearly intercepted by Seth Joyner.
Now Seth Joyner is having fun.
Yeah.
Look, you see him laugh. I mean, I know that. I mean, when you know that you've never been to a Super Bowl and you want to do all your life.
Finally.
Yeah, and you're playing out there. It's the end of the game, and you're diving and you're sliding in mud, and you're dirty and you're wet, and things are smelling out there and stuff. It doesn't get any better than this.
Right.
It doesn't get any better than this right now for number 54. I'll guarantee you.
4th down for the 49ers. Stokes will get the first, so they'll keep the ball as he steps out of bounds and stops the clock. Grabs a towel over on the sideline. Brett Favre, they already had the caps made up.
Brett
Where's the
Favre
rubber band? It's on the other arm, isn't it?
No, that's on the right hand. It's right there. Yeah,
there it is.
Yeah, you can see it right there in his right hand. In fact, he has knots in there.
Yeah.
You can see it right up there.
Got one on both arms.
Yeah. He has one on both, but the one on the right is the one that's starting to wear up. That's the one that he had to tie knots in.
Young chase. Down goes the ball, but it'll belong to the 49ers as they scramble for it. Keith McKenzie chased Young down. McKenzie's come on and had a couple of strong games here at the end.
Yeah, remember last week after Gabe Wilkins got hurt, McKenzie came in and got some pass rushes. I'll tell you, as great as it feels to win, and the Green Bay Packers, I'll tell you, it's equally as tough to lose these things. These are tough because there's nothing you can do about it. There's no next game or whatever. But on this side, this is why you coach. This is why Mike Holmgren coaches.
And again, the presentation will take place when this is over as the players on the field start to shake hands now.
Yep, this is why the players play. This is why Seth Joyner comes back. This is why they rehab. This is why they lift weights. To get to this point right now, to be wearing a white jersey.
Brett Favre looking for Steve Young, I think. Reggie White. A sloppy day.
But it has to feel so good for Mike Holmgren to not only get back to another Super Bowl, but to win it here in his hometown.
A chance to defend. And as you said before, John, when you're the defending world champions, everybody plays their best. There's what Brett Favre was looking for. Just to say hello to his friend.
Two of the biggest competitors in this league, Steve Young and Brett Favre. Two guys that know how to play this game and know there's only one way to play this game.
All
and
out.
Give everything you have. And Brent Jones probably knowing this is the last time you'll have that jersey on, and probably not wanting to take it off. Probably not wanting to leave the field. Want to be the last guy off. Want to be the last guy to take the jersey off in the locker room. Because it's
Gary
the last
Plummer
time you're going to do it.
Could be the last for him, although he says he wants to come back.
He said he was going to retire, and then he said he wants to come back. So
again, a reminder to stay with us because the presentation of the Hallis Trophy, emblematic of the NFC Championship,